Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Strange Issue 8. And really love the use of the red color in showcasing Clea and Director Nunn. This is a really kind of cool cover, and I really like this issue because it gives us background on Wand, their kind of relationship with Strange, and kind of an overview of like why they're kind of connected with the like undead stuff that's been kind of happening, and why Death would pretty much have a vested interest in keeping that stopped. So we pop in and we pretty much see that like Strange is having a good reunion, hugging and like touching everybody except of course Clea, and of course this kind of pisses her off, and you see her struggling to not touch him and everything like that. And you definitely get it. It's like great that all these people are thankful and joyful that they have Strange back, and she's the only one kind of left out, which really does suck. But she's not really whining about it. She's just expressing her frustrations, as then Clea tells Wong to tell us, like, okay, who did you invite? Because we're at war, so let's see what's going on here. And we go back to 2 years ago at Wand's site called the Big Box. It's their kind of prison. And she, of course, needs help from Strange, calling on his crystal ball that's connected to Wand, because they're surveilling his sanctum, so they know he's home. He's like, alright, what can I do for you? And he's pretty much being kind of coy until we learn the incident that kind of had bad blood between Strange and them, as evidently there was a Hoboken incident where they pretty much staged a mindless one attack to put listening devices in his sanctum. And he got an apology from S.H.I.E.L.D. on stationery and everything, but he didn't get one from Wand or the commanding officer, which is Pandora. Let me see, Pandora Peters. Yeah. Good name, by the way. And she, of course, does apologize, and Strange pops in and is like, alright, what are we looking at? And evidently it's a Class 3 rogue animation thing. And we also get Strange pretty much talking in on this, being like, listen, professionally, we pretty much hated each other. It was a clandestine organization using forbidden magics to further an unclear mandate with minimal oversight. And she kind of hits back that, like, Strange and his friends have the same kind of thing, but it's like, yeah, that's why you kind of have to watch each other. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a dick to try and control everything, which sounds like Peters does in the next kind of things, like, well, I wanted to try and get you guys under control. And evidently, she had one of a task group running like a hypothetical war game scenario. And the thing is, it became less hypothetical. It's like she asked him what he knew about Tibetan prayer wheels and everything like that. Like a drum machine filled up with rolled up mantras, and turning the drum provide the same spiritual effect as saying the sacred text out loud. So the thing is, she pretty much brings in like the whole kind of cryptocurrency kind of like technology, and pretty much these guys were able to turn computers into like untold numbers of prayer wheels. And I really kind of like that kind of fusion of new tech, which is like distributed kind of like computing power and stuff like that, with doing a prayer wheel kind of thing. And Stranger's like, holy shit, all of those prayer wheels? And she's like, you're off by an order of magnitude. And that they've got like reanimated motherfuckers just like going crazy. Like the spell accidentally went live, the seance spell, and every prisoner here is an undead monster possessed by screaming mad ghosts, as you see them fucking going ham everywhere. It's like, that is not good, and why you always watch out for that shit. And that we get then more kind of explanation as they're kind of fighting these undead magicians. And honestly, once you kind of get this explanation, it makes sense why they would do this. However, you really want to be careful with how you do this, because it's like, okay, it's a prison site for post-vital detainees, i.e. dead magicians, because they have a bad habit of coming back to life, or either possessed by other things or themselves. And as a precaution, they wanted them in that kind of big box to kind of watch them and everything. And we see that Bravo Charlie's runaway suited Bravo Charlie's runaway experiment just fine. Let's see. So Strange pretty much tells her to get all of her people out, and that he's going to activate the failsafe. And It's funny. She's like, "How do you know about that?" And he's like, "You aren't the only one keeping an eye on things, Director Peters." She just hands him like a communication thing. She's like, "This is going to be a budgetary disaster," and I'm like, "Listen, I'm a dude that's into finance and numbers and all that kind of shit. The last thing I would be thinking about is the budgetary disaster that this shit could unfurl. It's like, people first, then you figure out how to deal with it later." So we see that Peters, in command of Wand Emerald City, does an emergency summoning for all Wand personnel. She says good luck to Strange, as he then pretty much just puts the shield of the Seraphim up, and he talks about how the failsafe was like a mixture of magical and technological. But see, he was surrounded by the creatures, with the switch being in the security office like 3 floors away. So he kind of like spoke to it through the communication crystal, opening up his eye. See that? Yep. Shifty. And we see him doing all this kind of stuff and talking, and goddamn, that is some beautiful art. I really like how the art's really good in this issue, but I really love how this page just kind of like does such crazy shit. And he's like, he can hear the magical systems, he spoke to it, coaxed to it, they came to an agreement, it activated, and it was gone. So we see it, and then it disappears, and we see that it was pretty much transported where the prisoners couldn't hurt anyone, pretty much having to deal with the mindless ones. Let's see. And then we are later at Wand headquarters, codenamed Emerald City. So that sounds like the Blasphemy Cartel pretty much took over that kind of thing. So Peters is just pretty much figuring out what to kind of do. Strange is like, "Did I not fix your problem?" She's like, "Yeah, but it was an extremely expensive facility, and I've got the Magic East pulling double duty laying golden eggs as it is." And he talks about the task group, and she's like, "Yep, they're on my naughty list, and that's why you're doing cleanup duty in the Pegasus stables." And the dude says yes, and we see that Bravo Charlie is Blasphemy Cartel Group. So it's like, okay, like literally called it. It's like, and then we see that Director Nunn goes away, and Stranger's like, "Why can't I remember his face?" And she's talking about how, like, yeah, that was the head of Task Group Bravo Charlie, Blasphemy Cartel. The big box wasn't an accident, it was a trial run, and she only found that out later as we see the dude doing his kind of thing, going around. We see that, like, after the whole kind of secret empire kind of bit, that they were waiting for Wand to pretty much be shut down, and they used an IMD, an incantation of mass distraction, and cast it using the power of the corrupted blockchain spell mill system. So they used another kind of spell with the same tech to do what they needed to do, and the world forgot that Wand ever existed, and the sacrifice was for Director Nunn's identity to be scrubbed from reality. Let's see. And of course, they took over the remaining kind of infrastructure, took the agents and either converted them or killed them, and she was on the top of that list, and she pretty much explains that she was hiding out, and that the only thing that they couldn't account for was Clea. That they had everything on Strange and every kind of other sorcerer, but they didn't have anything on Clea, and no kind of plan. Like, they had stuff for Doom, Mordo, Drum, Maximoff, for Rasputina, Kaplan, even Wong, but they never expected Clea Strange. It's like, alright, so that'll help them out. So they pretty much start trying to figure out what to do, and she's like, "Hey, I can give you Emerald City, and I can give you their headquarters." And they start, we see Clea and Strange smiling at each other as they're pretty much done. And it's like, alright, let's see how this works out. How's this gonna, our heroes now have the information they need. They got more on who the Blasphemy Cartel is, how they kind of operate. We don't have a clear idea of their goals, just that they are using the dead and using distributed kind of technologies to work their spellcrafts, and we'll kind of have to see what other kind of objectives they have. But now our heroes are able to strike back at them and try and get at their headquarters and stop them from whatever that is. So it's like, ooh, can't wait to see kind of where that goes next, and how this group kind of works together, because Peters is new to me, but it'll be interesting to see, like, if it should be. I would think that Cleo would try and spearhead the kind of stuff. I mean, Strange, of course, would be like helping out as well and doing all that kind of stuff. But we'll see who kind of takes on different kind of roles, who kind of like leads tactically, who goes and just fucks kind of shit up. See how Wong does stuff. I mean, I think they'll do something with bats as well, and any kind of other magicians as well, because a group like the Blasphemy Cartel doing this kind of stuff, acquiring these kind of magical things and just fucking shit up for people, is something that needs to be handled in the magical community. Otherwise, it'll grow to a very serious problem, because who knows if they accidentally do an incantation system that summons Dormammu into our reality or whatnot, or subsumes our reality into Dormammu's realm, or any kind of other eldritch or even bigger kind of entity out there in the magical realm. So it's like, okay, we got to see what goes on, how they kind of fight. So I'm like, all right, I like the information we got here. This was more of a background, fill us in on who Pandora Peters is, her relationship with Strange, their relationship with the Blasphemy Cartel, and their kind of incubation and how they came to be. So even though there wasn't a lot of action, we got a lot of good character development and story and plot development, and I can't wait to see where this leads next. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.